Hello, this is Irv, and in this video we're going to get into great detail on using Aegisub to do the translation. Let's go ahead and run Aegisub, and I'll explain some of those things to you live. Again, the new language directory is where you're going to be doing your work for the translation. So I go in here and double click on Archivo Cero Dub Master. Get this off here. Allow it to load the videos. Stretch it out here. I'll set the size of the video down a little bit smaller. And okay, one of the first things you want to do, I'm going to pretend that I'm doing the German translation. So the first thing I should do is I should save a version of that. So I'll just say Archivo Cero Dub Master German. First, let's have a little bit of an overview of the various things that you see on the screen here. And as you saw in that diagram in the README file, let's go kind of around the corner here. Obviously, here's the video, which is in the work print directory. That's another thing in the README file, a list of all the directories and what's in them and what their purpose is in the README file. So very helpful. This field up here is called by Aegisub the actor field, and because of some of the scripts and things that we have to use later to generate the script from Aegisub, we have to do things in a certain way in this field up here. And these little things that you see in here in this line, ML056, that means this is loop 56. And then you see 56 again. I'll tell you why that's important later. And then we have a 5-character abbreviation for the actor. In this case, Nodor is speaking that line. Down here, if I double click on this line, then it sends the video to that line so you can see it. And then a loop is quite often broken up into multiple cues. And again, you can read about this in the translation section of the README. But here, this line, there's one cue in it. If I go down a little bit lower, you'll see loop 58. There's a Q1, a Q2, and a Q3. And as you click on each loop, you can see that that's changing up here. This field over here is called the effect field. But what we're actually using that for is you'll have a number in the front here, and then this little thing that says TK1, TK2. Most of the time it says TK1. I'll show you a line in a bit where we have multiple characters laughing or something in that same loop, and you record them separately so the mixer can control how it all sounds. And so when you record multiple characters doing that loop, then this will be some number other than TK1. So, so here in this loop, again, here's the third cue of loop 58. Up here, you can see that you can play from that point.
If you've already made up your mind.
Sure.
And if you click the little play with the red brackets around, it'll play from beginning to end of just that cue.
If you've already made up your mind.
And that time code, this is the in time code of when that little cue starts, and then this is the ending time code, and this is the duration here. And of course, this area here is where you can change the translation, type in your translation. And of course, down here, this is the list of all the cues, the loops in all of Archivo Cero. So as you can see, there's 878 phrases, or 496 loops. And you can read about that in the README a little bit more. Another helpful thing to know is that you can customize Aegisub a little bit if you want to. And here on, that was in the View menu options, you can change down on the hotkeys section different keys of, if you want to hit keys to actually control Aegisub. For instance, playing the video, I like to hit the shift space key so that the normal space key is not taken up, and you can use that if you're typing in your translation. Also, if you have to adjust the time code just a little bit on a loop, there's a time snap to the end of the video and the start of the video, and you can change that with the key up here. And I've got control page down and page up in my setup to do it that way. You shouldn't have to touch these loops and these various fields. Matter of fact, you don't want to touch with these things, otherwise you'll affect your ability to generate scripts later. Let's find the loop that I have in German through Google Translate. It's probably terrible translation like we did the other time. And you could search that actor field for something if you wanted, or the effect field, and then here you can search the text of the actual loop. So I'm going to find that loop as I showed you in the previous video. Double click on it, and if we play it...
I thought he had lost him, but now he had gotten him back.
So again, here for that loop, if I paste in German and go back to the start of that loop and play it, you can see that it's immediately showing up on the screen, subtitled in German.
He thought he had lost him, but now he had gotten him back.
And again, I played the version of the play key with a little red markers around it so that it plays just the loop versus
Nice story, huh?
hit play. It continues on from that point. So you can also read about doing translation and video fitting to what's on the screen to make sure that your translation is actually going to fit the screen. Now, some loops, as I was mentioning, you actually have multiple people saying the same thing. So down here, like if I go to loop 11, this is a loop where Ergo and Nuta are both saying is a mocking response to Nador without historical knowledge or easier to govern. The reason that's in here twice is so that when you run a script, as we'll talk about in another video, to generate the script of your translation for the actor, you want this line to show up in Ergo's list of lines, and you also want to show up in Nuta's list of lines. So by putting it in here twice, then as you can see on this one, I've called it a loop 11A. So it's ML011, that's loop 11. 11A, this was important to do for how the script works. There's the voice, Ergo, and then that's cue number 1. And then 11B, it says up here ML011, and then 11B, and then Nuta, N-U-Y-T, and then Q1. And Nuta is marked as track 2, and Ergo is marked as track 1. Oh yes, also, I don't think I explained this first number up in the effect field is the number of syllables. So both of them speaking here, this is about a 17-syllable phrase as spoken in the original Spanish, and that is what the animation was done to. So trying to get a translation of approximately 17 syllables will give you the best shot at getting something that actually matches them saying this line. Another important thing you can see from this line is there's square brackets in the front, and square brackets are always used to describe something that is an instruction to kind of the actor. They're saying this in a mocking tone of voice. So they don't actually say this word mocking, but that's how they're delivering their line. Things in parentheses are actual sounds or laughs or things, and the fact that it's at the end of the line means that they need to laugh after they say the line. So when we play this line,
Without historical knowledge, we're easier to govern.
All right, save the
and you can hear they have this little laugh, kind of chuckle on what they say. So as you're translating, if you want, you can put in square brackets, again, this information to the actor that they're supposed to say it in a mocking voice, because they may not read English as you do, the translator. And then in parentheses, you're instructing them to laugh at the end, and so you could translate that. But the only part they're actually saying is this without historical knowledge were easier to govern. And I actually have something that makes it easy to pull that stuff out automatically so it doesn't show up in your final subtitles if that's what you're going to do for your translation. That's the basic idea. You go from phrase to phrase and enter the translation in and do this for all of the loops and, as I said, 878 phrases or cues in the film. So I think we'll stop there for right now. And as always, if you have questions or comments or something is not clear, check the README file, and you can also leave a question or comment on my YouTube page, and I'll try to get back to you or make another little video that would be help to explain something, explain the question. So thanks. See you in the next video.